help.
There needs to be additional supports put in place for families. We need to make sure that all children are living in homes that are decently heated, that have food on the tables, that there's electricity in them. We really need to make sure that there's supports there for families where they need them.
Ireland's use of coal and fuel oil trebled in 2021 according to the Environmental Protection Agency. The EPA has also found that Ireland's ammonia emissions increased by 1%. A higher number of dairy cows are said to be behind the increased emissions. It's 2 minutes past 7.
News Talk weather.
Thanks to Ryanair. Release your dad bod this summer with low fare flights to Ibiza, Malaga or Zadar.
Tomorrow will be dry with good sunny spells, highest temperatures of 15 to 19 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
The Newsround on Off the Ball.
With Gillette Labs. Get the ultimate shave or your money back. Neon Night Edition available now.
This is News Talk.
Now you're welcome along. So Wednesday evening's Off the Ball is coming at you. Munster fans, you've been neglected this week with a final coming on Saturday. So Fiona Hayes and Keith Wood will restore some balance on Wednesday Night Rugby coming at you this hour. Dan McDonnell is along for the football show after 9. And between 8 and 9, a slight tangent makes a triumphant, some would say, return. 53106 is the text number. We are at Off the Ball on Twitter. Richie McCormack, hello to you.
Lads, what's going on?
And Michael McCarthy, who was away for the last couple of weeks, in part the reason a slight tangent was put on
me.
Hiatus, and now you're back, so we're going to give it a go again.
No, they managed to bring the crappy quiz out of retirement without me, despite being the person who writes the quiz. So, you've no excuses, is all I would say. Do you think we thrive in negativity, Joe? It's just you said like Munster have been ignored this week as we talked about Leinster, and I immediately thought if Leinster had won that game by 15 points, I feel like we would have been talking a bit more about Munster so far before we got to Wednesday Night Rugby.
Does the media thrive on negativity?
I don't even mean though. I'm saying we personally. We can only answer for ourselves
as
here,
people. No, well, I think I
as Off the Ball.
No, I don't think so.
No. I mean, we would be happier to analyse a Leinster win. I just don't think we would do it in as nitty-gritty a detail.
Well, I do find, and I'm not talking about Leinster here specifically, but discussing a loss is more interesting.
Yeah. We thrive in negativity.
If you want to put it like that,
you're taking what I'm saying negatively, as opposed to I just think that there's more interest.
Yeah.
And I don't mean interest as in like a public, like an outside interest. I mean there is more interesting avenues in failure than there is in success.
Oh, big time. I mean, you can sit around and say he was great and he was great. Oh, did you see that guy? He was great. She was great. It was all great. Whereas getting into the nitty gritty of what happened in Leinster on Saturday.
So what I'm trying to say is that actually Saturday was actually a great day for Irish sport with Leinster and Katie's defeats.
What is a slight tangent, you ask? It is where, the origins of this a couple of months back on some quiet spell or other.
Coming up nearly a year now, John.
Yeah, it probably is. The football show was in hiatus and the FM PM team would sit around for an hour and chew the fat. And in fairness, it initially did start with us having meetings to try and think of topics, but the number of emails into a slight tangent at offtheball.com over the last couple of weeks is off the charts, to the point that we don't need meetings anymore. So you've
Thank you. Doing our work for us.
Pressure of creativity. So very sincerely, thank you. Loads of you saying very nice things about the slot as well. That is, of course, the last time I will be sincere this evening. But thank you. For instance, one of the emails, Rich, you can just whet the appetite for people coming up after 8 o'clock. I won't talk too much to Mick about this because this will be one of the emails, one of many in when we get to a slight tangent after 8. How are the lads? Big fan of the show. The question I'm putting forward is, can grown men wear jerseys? And our emailer, who is from Killarney, goes on to talk about how as a kid he loved trying to emulate his sporting heroes, wore the jerseys. As he got a bit older, like most teenagers, he wanted to be that bit different, so he started wearing the more obscure jerseys, scrawling on eBay for some vintage Vauxhall Conference shirts. And then he says searching for the jerseys has become a real passion, but I seem to be getting more of a kick out of actually finding the jersey than wearing it. Now, as a 32-year-old man, I think I may be too old to be wearing my Parma Cannavaro shirt, dropping my son to the childminders.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
do you know what? There is something in that, in the sense of the finding and the searching and the hunting for something is means more than actually getting it. I'm reading Simon Reynolds' brilliant book Retromania at the minute, and one of the things he talks about in that is people who scour the internet for like rare and lost albums, whether it's like a rare file of it by ill-gotten means or whether they're actually buying the thing itself. They'll spend more time searching for it, hunting for it, trying to get it, getting it posted to them or downloading it or whatever, than they ever will listening to it. Yeah. Like 100%. It's just a fact of life. Now, I don't know if that's an age-based thing or if it's a collector's-based thing or if it's just the thrill of the chase that's basically baked into mankind. But there is very much something in, and I've experienced the same thing whereby you find a jersey, you get a jersey, you wear it once.
To the point though, are you above it as a grown adult to wear your Bows jersey down to Daily Mount?
No. As a grown adult, you're not above anything. You're entitled to make your own choices. Like, I've worn my jersey to Daily. I've worn, like I did the other night, a random jersey just in my day to day. You wear whatever you feel comfortable and happy in.
Yeah, no judgment. I probably stopped doing it about 10, 15 years ago.
There's 100% judgment in you, Joe. Don't lie.
No. There's not, and especially for some reason like a Bows jersey or an Irish jersey, I feel that's a cut above like wearing a Chelsea jersey. It just feels more of the place.
Yeah.
But I feel
Hugo Keenan on your list.
I feel I'm too old to.
He's a young lad though, that's the thing.
Well, actually, I didn't want to read out the whole email. John and Clarny put in like several rules, including you can't wear a jersey of somebody younger than you. Like you can wear your vintage Inzaghi jersey from back in the day.
I.e. now everybody. So yeah.
Well, no, but you can wear your vintage ones. You know what I mean?
Well, it's basically me and Gianluigi Buffon from this point onwards, I think, and maybe Alan Manis, but we won't go there. But yeah, like it's whatever you want yourself.
Sorry,
knock yourself out.
Each to their own, of course, is obviously the answer. Where are you in jersey wearing?
I don't. I have two kind of retro, well, maybe three or four retro jerseys that I'd be happy to wear, but I tend to not. I kind of feel like this. Like I don't know how comfortable like the kind of crappy polyester is these days as well. Do you know what I mean? You sort of cared less about that when you were younger. You know?
Yeah, I think about it. I wear a Connacht jersey and an Ireland jersey to the gym all the time.
Okay.
Where'd you get the Connacht jersey from?
He robbed it from over there, I'd say.
He did, didn't you?
No. I think it was sent in, actually. Very kindly.
Yeah.
For the show. And you robbed it?
No, actually not for the show.
John and Leitrim will be happy with you.
Yeah.
Finally mentioned Connacht on the show.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll get to heavier matters in a slight tangent after 8 o'clock. Just one of many emails in. Let us start the news round if we can. Brought to you with Gillette Labs. Get the ultimate shaver, your money back. Neon Night Edition is available now. For what it's worth, there is some Premier League this evening.
Yeah, tonight's Premier League game could be the last at the Amex for a host of Brighton stars. Alexis McAllister and Moises Caicedo have been linked with moves away this summer, while Levi Colwill is on loan from Chelsea. Two of those start, more of which anon. Champions Manchester City are the opposition for Roberto De Zerbi's side, who need just a point to secure Europa League football for next season. They're already guaranteed, of course, at least a Conference League spot. Evan Ferguson, I suppose, is the main headline from our perspective. He's on the bench for Brighton this evening. They line out with Jason Steele in goal. The back four of Caicedo, Jan Paul Van Hecke, Levi Colwill and Pervis Estupiñán. Pascal Gross and Billy Gilmore in midfield. Facundo Buonanotte, Julio Enciso and Keru Matoma are in behind Danny Welbeck. For City, Stefan Ortega is in ahead of Ederson in goal. They've got a back three then of Kyle Walker, John Stones and Rico Lewis. In midfield, a quartet of Rodri, Ilkay Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, Riyad Mahrez and Phil Foden are in support of Erling Haaland. Kickoff is at 8 o'clock.
Did you audibly tut there?
I'm sick of this one in, one out Ferguson stuff. Like, just play him. It's the only reason I want to watch Brighton games, even though they're brilliant and really exciting to watch. You said for what it's worth there, Joe. If City win this game 10-0, Villa only have to beat Brighton 3-0 at the weekend, or maybe 4-0 to qualify for the Europa League. So, and to bypass them, so you wouldn't want to be underestimating that possibility.
No, it's a big game. I did see on Evan Ferguson that the
out of nowhere.
That's a good response.
The director of the Manchester United Academy has labelled Evan Ferguson their £50 million mistake. He was on trial there before Brighton, and obviously they said no, we're not too interested.
Right, okay,
so,
yeah.
Bit of a post-mortem on how we missed Ferguson going on there.
That's interesting. Can you worry too much about missing out on people like based on potential? Like, isn't that going to happen?
Yeah.
That you're just going to kind of miss on people if you've got the people. If you got people for trial, you'll get more than you miss. I don't know.
Every club has a litany of those stories.
It's like it's just.
I'd love to know what a trial is constituted of these days.
Do you know what? We should do a piece on that. What is a trial in 2023 for a
genuinely
15, 16-year-old?
Getting a 14-year-old, as Evan would have been, or 15, getting them in and like having a look at them in what kind of circumstances, what kind of matches are they playing, what are the metrics by which they're judging these players on. Like, it's a really like because I remember Vinnie Perth was in a while ago and he was talking about scouting, and he was saying about all these tools that managers have whereby you can isolate every corner kick taken by X player and assess where they play them and how they manage to play them and all this kind of stuff. And that's obviously broken down into different aspects of the game, but like everything is so meticulous these days that you'd wonder what the arbitrary subjective nature of a trial could be in this day and age, or if it is indeed arbitrary and subjective and there are more nuts and bolts that go around it.
Well, I would say a lot of nuts and bolts now. I would say they're able to have a fair guess at what height they're going to end up, how they're going to grow into themselves. They're doing all sorts of tests, I would think. There's that old wives' tale as well, that in the States, promising talent in basketball, they check what height the mother is. Because always be taller than the mother is as a starting point. But that's we should do that piece at some stage.
Write that down, Arthur.
Does everybody know, by the way, I'm sure everybody has an apocryphal tale of somebody they knew who went on trial at a club back in the day and who, quote unquote, didn't make it. There's one of those in,
my dad
pretty
got
much
off
every
the trial
area
with Crystal Palace.
Oh yeah,
and didn't go.
Why not?
I don't really know. I think there was a hurling match on or something like that, but he didn't go. So he was 16 or 17, I think, and was got a trial at Palace.
Didn't know that.
Never went.
Is that when Steve Coppell was there?
No, I don't think so. I think Steve Coppell wasn't even like playing for Manchester United at the time, but
so it was slightly before.
I'm talking about my dad. I'm nearly 40.
Yeah. Could have been El Tel.
I don't know what I don't know how far it went or from whom the trial offer came, but it's a story in our family.
Listen, not everyone is asked. We should mention, really good night last night for the Irish under-17. So it is Spain who they'll be playing Saturday.
It is indeed. It's the Republic of Ireland playing Spain in the quarterfinals of the Under-17 European Championships on Saturday. Barcelona's Lamine Yamal struck 12 minutes from time to salvage a 1-1 draw for Spain, with Serbia to finish top of Group B. The Serbs did look like they were going to finish top there for a while. At 15, Yamal became Barca's youngest ever La Liga debutant earlier this month when he came on for Gavi against Betis. Serbia are runners-up in Group B and they will play Poland.
URC Player of the Season
is Dan Sheehan. The Leinster hooker topped a poll of club captains and vice captains today. Sheehan scored 8 tries for Leinster in the regular URC season. Only Rob Russell's 10 beat him to that mark in the province. This personal honour follows Sheehan's naming on the URC's Elite 15 of the season when he beat out Ulster's Tom Stewart to get the number 2 slot.
One of the emails into a slight tangent, which we won't discuss this time around, is the URC, if it's a league, just have it as a league. Don't have a semi-final and final stage.
Yeah, but almost all rugby leagues have playoffs, don't they?
Yeah, top 14, Premiership, all that,
yeah.
I don't know if they should have, and I understand why they do it, it's probably good for the tournament, but given I think it's unfair to play a final away from home. Like, whatever about the argument about the Aviva and Leinster, I think there is a kind of a named thing, and if this is your year to get the home final, fine, but I find it weird that Munster have to travel to play the Stormers away for a final, Yet they have earned the home advantage, I don't doubt it, but I think once you get to a final, I think throw it out the window.
Yeah, well, very tricky though with South Africa and Ireland. Where are you having the final?
No, the URC final of 2023 is going to be in. It's like in the same way as it was in Dublin for the Heineken Champions Cup.
Tricky though. I mean, if it was in London, would you get a full house? That'd be their worry.
That probably is the big concern there. Yeah.
Word seems to be they'll have 55,000 obviously in the stadium, 52,000 of whom will be Stormers fans. So you're just not going to get that in a neutral country.
Yeah, you might get 10,000-15,000 Munster fans travelling, but How many from South Africa?
Patton Newbridge with a correction. They didn't turn down Evan Ferguson. Both Liverpool and Man United offered him a contract. He turned them down to sign for Brighton.
That's what I heard. I knew Liverpool for a fact that he had turned down.
United,
I didn't know about United.
Head of the academy's probably beating himself up a touch then. Maybe they didn't try hard enough. Maybe it was maybe we'll take you, as opposed to we really want you.
Yeah.
What he's getting at, I don't know. So that was Dan Sheehan, who's Players Player of the Season. There is some GAA this evening, minor level.
Yeah, semi-finals night tonight in the Electric Ireland Leinster Minor Football Championship. There was a 7 p.m. start at Glenisk O'Connor Park, where the first three scores were all goals, and Dublin now lead Offaly by 2-2 to 1 goal and no points. Lenny Cahill with the latest score for Dublin there, 15 minutes or so on the clock. There's a 7:30 start at Hawkfield, where Kildare go up against Meath.
Gary in Summerhill says, I'm a Forest fan, I'm in my 50s. I wear their yellow and blue away jersey with the UNHCR logo at home when watching their games on the edge of my seat up to their most recent game. However, I would never go out and about in my Forest jersey, but I would wear NFL, MLB and NLH t-shirts out and about all summer without a thought. Just now I've realised there's some kind of contradiction here. Gary's working through some stuff in live text.
I think I have to say, Gary, and look, again, no judgment, I think, especially if you're a Forest fan, I think, wearing that for a walk at the park in a nice summer's day, absolutely grand, especially the away jersey. I think putting it on for a match to sit in your sitting room on your own.
That's kind of sweet.
Okay,
I'd have that over going for a walk in the park.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be putting on a jersey to watch a game in my sitting room. I think it's performative.
But who are you performing for?
To whom?
You're on your own. It's the opposite of performative.
I feel like it's so you can text in off the ball and tell them that you do it.
Yeah, or a selfie. Funny, I would have had you down as someone who'd stick on a Villa shirt at home for a match.
Well, no, I might
for a match.
I might randomly have it on. They haven't been taken out in a while, but no, not for a match. Do you know what? I have to just realise now, and I didn't even know I did this, but I think I did wear a Clare t-shirt, not a jersey, but like a kind of a O'Neill's t-shirt on Sunday. No, that in the morning, like not just like 5 minutes before the match, but I think I did have it on for the game. Yeah,
it's funny you say that now, because John Clarney's email ended with he feels now at 32, if Kerry are playing Croker this year, he's going to say the jersey days are over and I'm going to wear one of those like GA polo
the
t-shirts.
navy t-shirt that everybody has with the strips of the colours. Yeah. No, that's fair, sorry, but I'm just saying, in terms of my hypocrisy of calling out the texter, I was sitting in my sitting room watching that game, so I should held me wished a bit.
Yeah, no, I get the impression he specifically has it in the wash 24 hours out, ready to go. So the Giro is continuing.
Tis indeed, and drawn to a close indeed. Eddie Dunbar remains fifth on general classification with just 4 stages of the Giro remaining. The Cork rider finished safely within the peloton on today's 17th stage, which was won by the Italian sprinter Alberto Dainese. Dunbar stays 3 minutes and 3 seconds behind the pink jersey of Geraint Thomas, with 2 mountain stages and a time trial still to come. After a climb-free stage, Ben Healy retains the King of the Mountains jersey, although he could well lose that tomorrow.
Love this next story. Nothing to see here.
Absolutely. We've been here before, I feel. Newcastle's proposed new shirt sponsorship deal is to test the Premier League's rules on related party transactions. A Saudi-based events company called Sella is close to signing a deal worth £25 million a season. However, who'd have guessed it? Sella is part funded by Newcastle's owners, Saudi Arabia's public investment fund. Every sponsorship deal has to be submitted to the Premier League for approval to see if it meets the fair market value benchmark, and that is under those recently introduced rules.
What can we say? We're just big in Saudi Arabia now.
Yeah. I mean, the less we say about this, the better, I would say.
Can I hit you with Adam Crafton was on the News Agents podcast? It was very interesting to listen. It's the most recent episode if you're looking for it. And he was just going through the circumstances surrounding the takeover at Newcastle and the extent to which the government were involved. So the context would be 2018, Theresa May is Prime Minister. Heady days.
Just 5 or 6 prime ministers ago.
Yeah, exactly. All I remember from that era is just your man screaming, order. Anyway. What was his name again? He had a good run of it.
I can see him in my head.
John Burko.
Oh yeah,
John Burko. Roger Federer superfan.
He ended up in I'm a Celebrity and all sorts, I presume, did he? Had to.
I think he's got a couple of books out already.
Oh, I'd say he's opening Asda's every day of the week at the moment. So it's 2018. He's probably not. Theresa May's Prime Minister.
It's got his own scissors.
And a deal has been struck with Saudi Arabia and MBS, which is worth $65 billion in trade over a 10-year period. So it would seem that the PIF have pledged $30 billion of investment into Britain between 2018 and 2028. And there are reports at the time of MBS texting Boris around the time of the takeover. Now, Boris, of course, before parliamentary committees, has denied any government role whatsoever in the takeover. We would never. That's not how we would behave.
And Boris's word is his bond, Joe.
Indeed. So now
just ask his 4, 5, 6 children.
There's a Freedom of Information Act, and there are emails now between the Foreign Office, discovered as part of this Freedom of Information Act, the Foreign Office in London and the British Embassy over in Saudi Arabia around 2020, saying the Newcastle takeover is the immediate risk to this relationship between Britain and Saudi Arabia. It is the immediate risk. ... And so 30 billion over 10 years is 30 billion, and fast forward a couple of years and here we are. So, there you go.
Suddenly the next application is successful. You have to remember as well, like in terms of British government, British economy, is that level of investment, like nominally obviously it's huge, but it's all that's happening kind of post-Brexit. Like, I mean, it's such a sluggish economy. The growth is tiny, minuscule, sometimes non-existent, and they, like, I'm not saying they have no options, they have other options of revamping everything they do, but in terms of the easy quick fix, it's not one that they can turn down at the moment. So it's fascinating. It's also something like this has been, obviously those emails have come out in the last few days, but they've kind of been known about for a few months now, and what's interesting in it, I feel like the Premier League got an awful lot of stick when they went back on their decision, and it does feel like, in fairness to them, and like, you know, even with the Manchester City charges that have come up since and all like that, it does seem like their hands were tied in this case, or at least they were so pressured that they felt they had no choice, you know. So I think there is sometimes a kind of the Premier League doesn't really care attitude that might not be fair based on the facts, you know.
The La Liga president, Richie, has been talking.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't at this stage, but La Liga president Javier Tebas has apologised if his tweets on Sunday were misinterpreted by Vinicius Jr. When the Brazilian described La Liga and wider Spain as racist, Tebas responded by saying Vinicius had not shown up for previously arranged discussions about the issue. Tebas told Relevo in Spain that he was sorry if his own tweet generated a misinterpretation. Then he was sorry Vinicius Jr. has not been included in Real Madrid's squad for this evening's La Liga meeting with Rayo Vallecano, despite his red card received in the Valencia game being rescinded. Meanwhile, Valencia say they will appeal a decision to close the Mario Kempes stand at their Mestalla Stadium for 5 games, which comes as punishment for the racist abuse suffered by Vinicius Jr. Valencia have also been fined €45,000 and say their punishment is unfair and disproportionate.
Javier Tebas, not to make it all about him, but he didn't just point out that Vinicius hadn't attended a meeting about the issue. He also said, in response to Vinicius's Instagram, before criticising and insulting La Liga, it is necessary that you inform yourself properly, Vinicius, which was quite the lecture, given the circumstances. So I'm not surprised he's at pains to apologise.
Read the room, buddy.
I know.
Like, that's
crazy.
Like, whatever about, like, I mean, you can be disgusted with what he says, absolutely, and like, I mean, we all probably share that, and there's no debate there. But how you make such a fundamental PR error when this story has got as big as it is actually just a little bit mind-boggling, isn't it?
Be very worried about a 22-year-old now. It's become too big and too ugly and too volatile and pressurised, and you still don't get a sense, despite a better reaction to this latest instance to the previous instance, you just don't get a sense of any great protection around him, despite the best intentions of Carlo Ancelotti and a few others. It just seems like it's out of control there.
Yeah, and he's just like, I mean, we know the way football works as well. You know, Valencia get this fine, they appeal it, they go on the offence about this. He becomes an even bigger villain to Valencia fans, who don't care about the nuance of this story. I'm not talking about the racist Valencia fans now, I'm talking about, you know, average Joe Soaps. And he'll be like, the Real Madrid bad guy who's out to get our club, and it's just going to make things even more toxic.
And like,
whereas Valencia could just say, do you know what, this is unacceptable, we're joining with Real Madrid to stamp this shit out.
I think they'll have to. It's okay. I think they'll have to, because there's no rules that prohibit fans from booing a player. So they can't make.
But they've already had Ruben Baraja, their coach. Their coach has already said, like, we're not going to have the club as a wider entity be sullied by smears, I think was the word he used.
Exactly.
Around them. And you're like a decent proportion, but the vast majority obviously weren't involved in this, but a decent proportion, and around the stadium were involved in monkey chants against a player of colour in 2023. Like, people are entitled to make very well-based claims about you at the moment, and it's probably just it's probably within your remit to sit back and just listen at the moment and hear what people who are in that position have to say.
Yeah, so the extent to which they're not shooting down their own fans would suggest, at a minimum, he'll be booed. And he'll know what that means, and they'll know what that means, and that's every bit as bad as the monkey chants in some respects. And he's such a young man.
Yeah.
I
go back to what I say on Monday. I think you should get out of Spain. I don't think it's worth it for him at this stage.
I know, but doesn't that feel like such a horrible outcome? Like, almost like chased out of the country by these morons.
But in some way, he'll be fine. He can go to, like, there's better leagues than the Liga. There might not be better clubs than Real Madrid, but he can have an amazing career somewhere else. And Real Madrid and the Liga are worse off for losing one of their very few young superstars that are in that league. So there is a knock-on effect that's negative for them. I completely agree with the horrible idea that somebody's being chased out by racists in 2023.
Did see Mbappe very supportive of him publicly. I wonder if he's looking at Real Madrid and saying,
no, you're grand, thanks.
Near that place. Anyway, where are we going next? Last couple of stories.
Where are we going next? Laura Heffernan has taken up the manager's job at DLR Waves. She replaces Graham Kelly, who's left for a position with St. Pat's. Waves currently sit 8th in the SSE Electricity Women's Premier Division and host Bohemians this Saturday, while Raheem Sterling has been omitted from the latest England squad by mutual agreement with the manager Gareth Southgate. Sterling has struggled for form since his move to Chelsea. Brighton defender Lewis Dunk and Crystal Palace midfielder Eberechi Eze do get call-ups for their upcoming Euro qualifiers with Malta and North Macedonia.
My granddad was offered a trial at Arsenal back in 1950. He was a goalkeeper for Irish Transport. A week later, he met my nanny. I probably wouldn't be here if he'd gone to London. Life's mad sometimes, says Aaron in Galway. There you go.
That's a lovely story.
We are pretty much done. Richie, thank you very much.
Nice lads.
Michael, thanks for the time being.
Cheers.
A Slight Tangent is at 8 o'clock.
Your chance to win big. News Talk's cash machine.
Now we have a rollover. The new number is €81,296.56. If you've entered since 5 o'clock yesterday, Tuesday, you're still in to win, but you must know that new number. Text play to 57557. Get your entry in by 3 o'clock tomorrow. And if your phone rings, answer within 5 rings. The exact amount in your own cents, and the cash is yours. So again, the new number is 81.